For our Vivid Synergies project, we are exploring rest spaces on an individual level and also a universal one. Today we've taken a trip around Kampala, looking at the different public spaces that are available. First of all, there are a few of them, but even the few that are there, they aren't really comfortable because they are exposed. They don't have a lot of furniture or furnishing for people to feel comfortable and secure enough in the space. Part of feeling comfortable while having my things on me is they provide warmth, but then I don't feel too open. So why I wouldn't use the space the way it is now is because it's very open and I'd feel very exposed, so I wouldn't feel comfortable in it. What we are exploring is how to make these spaces comfortable for the city users. So we have been looking at the character of the spaces, what elements are in them, for example, the trees, what kind of trees are there, what kind of urban furniture is there, if any. Do we have rubbish bins? Do we have benches? Do we have lighting? And looking for opportunities where there can be a design intervention to make the spaces more comfortable and appealing to the public enough for them to feel encouraged and secure enough to use the spaces. I'm happy and impressed. I think it's a good attempt from the city because for some of us who get lost,
yeah, by the way, I get
this
lost
is
so
very
easily.
good, especially the maps, because like I can find my way with the map.
With a map,
but like
navigating actual streets. So I do thinking, don't you find it interesting how the sitting space is here, but there's no shading, and then the spaces where there's shading, there's no sitting.
But I think Badru has a point. They don't want people to stay long, but even then,
yeah, because even with this like Ugandan sun,
it should be a basic need in the city,
need,
given the tropical climate and all.
The tropical climate, but also just even when you see the taxi overhangs, they're overhangs. So it would make sense that, that would be...
look at those umbrellas though. So it's like for buildings that don't have large overhangs like these ones, this is what people are doing. And then for the buildings with large overhangs, I think they rent out their front spaces to the street vendors. And then I also found myself, when I'm using the city, I would go, like to make a call, I would go to a place where there's like somebody selling airtime. Those days when we still had scratch cards. Like even if you're not going to buy, you at least stand there and make a call, because like there's that sense of security because there's someone and something to be next to.
Yeah, and then also it's sort of a step away from the bustle of the city at the same time. So that you can actually make the call and be heard. I'm not worried that someone is going to come and snatch your phone.
That was my biggest concern.
We've taken a tour of various Kampala public spaces, and really the purpose for today, for me, was to get a feel of the city and to look at these public spaces and sort of examine the history of these public spaces and also how that relates to the state they are in right now, so that I can look at the projected future of the spaces and what the spaces could look like, should look like, and would look like in the future. And that has really been the core of this whole experience. Based on what I've seen so far and unpacking, like I've mentioned, the history of these places, I'm going to use this information to sort of create a parallel world in which I can tell the story that will eventually look at projecting our world into a futuristic setting, something that is post-apocalyptic in a sense, but also is in a sense a version of a possible future that we could have in regards to where our country is right now, from pre-colonial times to the occupation of the British to post-colonial times up to the present. And all of those things are interconnected, and I'm projecting into the future, but also projecting into a alternate reality and what that would look like. And so I'm using all the information that I'm gathering and observing and hearing about to form different elements for the story that I'm going to eventually tell.